What if your peace was untouchable? Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You can't control the world, but you can stop it from controlling you. Imagine walking through chaos like it's wind on your face. It touches you, but it doesn't move you. Have you ever noticed how a single moment, just one, can hijack your entire day? It might be a sharp comment, a careless gesture, or something as simple as being cut off in traffic. And just like that, your peace evaporates. Frustration takes over, your mood spirals, and suddenly someone else is in charge of your emotions. It's frustrating, isn't it? But what if, truly what if, it didn't have to be that way? What if you could walk through your day calm, grounded and unshaken, no matter what life or anyone else throws at you? What if the things that used to trigger you started to feel like background noise? Present, yes, but powerless to reach your core. That isn't some fantasy. It's not wishful thinking. It's called emotional mastery, and it's real. In this episode, we're not just talking about avoiding anger or pretending things don't bother you. That's denial, not strength. Instead, we're diving into 10 transformative principles that give you real power. The power to respond with clarity, not impulse. The power to let go without feeling weak. The power to set boundaries without guilt. The power to protect your peace without asking for anyone's permission. Whether you're navigating criticism, dealing with difficult people, or wrestling with your own emotional triggers, these lessons are your armor and your anchor. Because by the end of this episode, you won't just feel better. You'll understand how to lead yourself, even in the moments when everything outside of you is pulling for a reaction. So if you're tired of giving your energy to things and people that don't deserve it, if you're ready to feel solid again, to feel free again, then let's begin, because your journey to emotional freedom starts right now. Number 1, your reaction is your choice. Picture this. It's a peaceful day. Maybe you're sipping your morning coffee. Maybe you're out for a walk, sun on your face, feeling light, finally. And then it happens. Someone says something sharp, dismissive, maybe even a little cruel. A stranger cuts in line. A friend forgets something important. A co-worker takes credit for your idea, and in a flash, the peace you worked so hard to protect is gone, replaced by tension, irritation, that tightness in your chest, and you think, why do people always ruin my day? But here's the deeper truth. They didn't ruin your day. You did. And I say that not to blame you, but to free you, because the second you realize your reactions belong to you, not to them, you reclaim power most people never touch. Think of it like this. Imagine you're wearing noise-canceling headphones in a crowded city. The traffic, the shouting, the chaos, it's all still happening. But it can't touch you. It's just there, without access to your center. That's what it feels like to master your reactions. You stop letting the noise of others invade your peace. You stop giving away your energy to things that aren't worth it. You become still, even when the world isn't. There's a quote that captures this perfectly. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl. Let's bring it down to real life. Your colleague shoots down your idea in a meeting. You feel disrespected, overlooked. Your ego flares. You want to snap back, or worse, you stew on it for hours. But what if instead you paused? What if you asked yourself, is this about me? Or about their own stress, their own ego, their own limitations? That one pause creates distance between trigger and reaction, and in that space, you reclaim your authority. You might still feel anger. That's human. But now it doesn't own you. You don't carry it around like a backpack made of bricks, because emotional mastery isn't about being a robot. It's about recognizing I can feel what I feel and still decide what to do next. That's power, not explosive, but steady and lasting. In the next lesson, we'll take this one step further, learning how to pause on purpose and respond in a way that reflects who you are, not just how you feel in the moment, because the world may not get quieter, but you can get quieter inside, and that changes everything. Number 2, detach from opinions. There's a quiet kind of prison that most people live in, and they don't even realize it. It's built out of glances, out of offhand comments, out of praise and criticism from people who don't walk your path, but somehow get to define how you feel about it. We hand over the keys to our peace every time someone's opinion controls how we see ourselves. But here's the truth. Your worth is not up for debate. It's not a vote. It's not performance-based. It doesn't rise with applause or fall with disapproval. It simply is. Untouched, unshaken, undeniable. Let's ground this in something simple. Imagine you're wearing a new outfit, something bold, something that feels like you. You walk into the office feeling confident, and then a co-worker says, "That's an interesting choice." They don't mean it as a compliment. Now you have a choice. You could shrink. Start second-guessing yourself. Let their passing words dictate your entire mood. Or you could pause, take a breath, and remember, their opinion doesn't own this moment. I do. When you detach from the need for approval, you don't become arrogant. You become free. Free to live with honesty. Free to move with clarity. Free to express who you are, even if it doesn't land well with everyone. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it plainly. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. At first it sounds harsh, but look closer. It's not a call to be careless. It's an invitation to stop living under the weight of others' misunderstanding. Growth often looks strange to those who haven't taken the same path. And approval is a moving target. Even if you hit it today, you'll be chasing it again tomorrow. So how do you start breaking free? Step 1. Question the weight you give their words. When someone's opinion stings, pause and ask, why does this matter to me? What power do they actually have over my life? You'll find most of the time they don't. Step 2. Reaffirm your values, ground yourself, come back to your compass, your goals, your integrity, your direction, because that's what gives your life meaning, not someone else's fleeting reaction. Step 3, practice letting go visually. When judgment shows up, don't carry it. Picture it as a leaf floating down a stream, real but passing. It doesn't define you unless you hold on to it. The philosopher Lao Tzu said it with deep wisdom. Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. This doesn't mean you reject all feedback. It means you develop the discernment to filter what serves you and release what doesn't. Constructive criticism can be a gift, but unwarranted judgment, that's theirs to carry, not yours. Think of detachment like an umbrella in the rain. You can't stop the sky from pouring, but you can choose whether or not you walk through the storm drenched. When you live by your own internal compass, not their changing weather, you become grounded, centered, steady. So the next time someone's words shake your confidence, pause and ask yourself, am I living for them or for me? If the answer is clear, so is your path forward, because detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's the power to hear someone's opinion and decide with quiet strength, that's not mine to carry. And with that one choice, you reclaim your peace, your confidence, and the freedom to live fully and unapologetically as yourself. Number 3, choose peace over the burden of being right. There's a quiet urge that rises in the middle of disagreement. It starts as a nudge, a desire to explain, to correct, to prove. Then it swells into something sharper. I need them to know I'm right. Sound familiar? We've all been there. It could be a heated discussion about politics, a debate over whose memory is correct, or a disagreement with someone close, a partner, a sibling, a friend. You feel it rising, that itch to win, to make your point, to be understood. But here's the question that changes everything. Would you rather be right or at peace? The need to be right is subtle, seductive, and incredibly draining. It steals your energy. It locks you into conversations that go nowhere. And worst of all, it hijacks your emotional state over things that won't matter a week from now. Letting go of the need to win an argument doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise enough to see that ego is expensive and peace is priceless. When you stop needing to be right, you create space for something more powerful, understanding. Try this the next time tension starts to build. Instead of defending your stance, ask a question, not to trap them, but to actually understand what's underneath their view. It sounds simple, but it shifts the dynamic completely. Instead of, let me tell you why I'm right, say, help me understand where you're coming from. That, unmoved, diffuses tension. It tells the other person, you don't have to lose for me to feel heard. And here's the deeper truth. You're not your argument. Your value doesn't rise or fall with how convincing you are. Your intelligence isn't measured by how quickly you shut someone down. It's measured by how calmly you carry yourself, even when your beliefs are challenged. There's a stoic strength in knowing when to engage and when to simply let go. So, pick your battles carefully. Save your energy for conversations that truly matter. Ask yourself, does this disagreement affect my values, my peace, my future? If not, why carry it? Because the truth is, when you stop trying to control every conversation, when you stop needing to prove every point, you feel lighter, freer, more in control, not of others, but of yourself. Letting go of being right doesn't mean you become silent. It means you become selective, wise enough to choose presence over pride, and in that shift, arguments lose their grip. You stop seeing every disagreement as a threat to your identity. You start seeing them as invitations to grow, to listen, or simply to walk away. The next time you feel that familiar spark, that pull to correct, to interrupt, to win, take a breath. Ask yourself, is being right more important than being at peace right now? And if the answer is no, let it go. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Number 4, let go of expectations toward others. We don't always realize it, but most of our disappointment doesn't come from what people do. It comes from what we expected them to do. We carry silent contracts in our minds, assumptions about how others should behave, respond, show up. And when they don't meet those unspoken standards, we don't just feel surprised, we feel betrayed. But here's the truth you won't hear often enough. People don't exist to meet your expectations. They exist on their own terms, shaped by their own lives, beliefs, and blind spots. And the sooner you release them from your invisible rule book, the sooner you set yourself free. Start here. When someone disappoints or frustrates you, a partner, a friend, a co-worker, pause and ask, what was I expecting them to do? You'll often find that what hurts most isn't what they did. It's that they didn't live up to the script you wrote for them, one they never agreed to follow. Let's say your friend forgot your birthday, or a co-worker cut you off in a meeting. Your instinct might be to get defensive, cold, or silently resentful. But what if you challenge the expectation itself? Is it truly realistic to expect others to act as you would in every situation? Or is it more honest and more freeing to accept that people are wired differently? That doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect or lower your standards. It means you stop bleeding emotionally over things you cannot control. Because here's the deeper truth. When you tie your peace to someone else's behavior, you give them power over your internal world. And that's a power they were never meant to hold. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean letting go of boundaries. It means replacing the exhausting task of controlling others with the liberating act of mastering your response. Here's a mindset shift that changes everything. They're acting from their nature, not from mine. And I choose to respond from mine. You don't need to correct them. You don't need to change them. You don't need to carry the emotional weight of how they show up. Instead, come back to your center. Return to what you can control, how you act, how you interpret, and how you protect your peace. Here are 3 steps to help you internalize this. Acknowledge your assumption. Catch it in real time. Ask yourself, what story was I telling myself about what they were supposed to do? 2. Challenge its fairness. Would you expect the same thing from a stranger? Would you be okay if someone held you to that exact standard? Redirect your focus. Shift from control to clarity. How can I maintain my peace without needing them to change? When you live this way, free from emotional dependency on others' choices, life gets quieter, lighter. You stop waiting for people to meet you where you are and start meeting yourself where it matters most. This isn't about detaching from people. It's about detaching from the illusion that they'll become who you want them to be, just because you hoped they would. They are who they are. And you get to choose how you respond to that reality. With grace, with steadiness, with self-respect. Let go of the fantasy. Return to what's real. And watch your peace return with it. Number 5. Embrace criticism as a tool for growth. There's a moment we've all felt. You put yourself out there. You share an idea. Maybe it's something you've worked hard on, something that feels personal, and then someone cuts it down. A sharp comment, a raised eyebrow, a few words that pierce deeper than they should. Your first instinct? Defensiveness. Maybe anger, maybe the quiet voice inside that says, why did I even try? That's normal. But what if you could catch yourself in that moment? Not to shut the feeling down, but to redirect it. Because here's the truth. Criticism, no matter how it's delivered, holds value if you know how to hold it. Instead of seeing it as an attack, what if you could see it as a signal, a mirror? A hidden door that leads to something better in you. When you reframe criticism, it stops being something that diminishes your confidence and starts becoming something that builds your awareness. Take this example. You're preparing a presentation. You're proud of it. And a colleague points out several flaws. You could brush them off. They're just trying to undermine me. Or you could pause and ask, is there truth here I didn't see? What if this sting is actually a spotlight on a blind spot? That shift, just that one breath of curiosity, transforms the entire moment. Suddenly, it's not a wound, it's a window. As one wise thought puts it, criticism, like rain, should be gentle enough to nourish growth without destroying roots. That doesn't mean every comment deserves your trust. Some people criticize from envy, some from ignorance. Others just like the sound of their own judgment. The skill is learning to filter, keep what's useful, release what's not. Think of it like gold panning. You sift through the sediment and what's valuable remains. So how do you do that in real life? Pause before reacting. Let the initial sting pass. Emotions cloud judgment. Space creates clarity. Evaluate the source. Who's speaking? Do they know what they're talking about? Do they have your growth in mind? Find the lesson. Even poorly delivered criticism can hold a seed of truth. Ask, what part of this can help me get better? Let's make it even more personal. Imagine a family member criticizes your lifestyle, your job, your decisions, the path you've chosen. You could argue, you could retreat, or you could say, I hear your concerns. I'll think about it. That simple, measured response shows maturity. It buys you space to reflect later on your own terms. It shows you've moved from reaction to response. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus offered this timeless reminder. If someone speaks ill of you, do not make excuses, but reply, he did not know the rest of my faults, for otherwise he would not have mentioned only these. That's not sarcasm, that's serenity, it's self-possession. It's choosing not to take everything personally because you know who you are and who you're still becoming. So the next time someone critiques you, ask, what can I learn here? Is this about me, or is it more about their lens? Can I use this moment to sharpen who I am, not shrink from it? As Lao Tzu wrote, knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Criticism, when approached with the right mindset, becomes exactly that, a path to deeper self-knowledge. It won't always feel good. Growth rarely does. But if you can stay open through the sting, something powerful happens. You build resilience, you gain humility, you get stronger where you once felt weak. So the next time harsh words find you, don't turn away. Don't fight back, just pause and reframe, because that sharp edge you feel, it might just be the next step in your becoming. Number 6, let silence speak. When anger rises, there are moments when your pulse quickens, your jaw tightens, your chest feels like it's closing in. Someone has just said something cruel, dismissive, or deeply unfair, and your instinct is clear: strike back. Fire off the perfect comeback, level the playing field, protect your pride. But what if, in that exact moment, you did something radical? What if you said nothing? What if, instead of matching fire with fire, you met provocation with stillness? Because here's the truth, most people never learn. Silence isn't weakness, it's control. When used with intention, silence is one of the most powerful emotional tools you'll ever possess. It's not avoidance, it's not passive. It's a conscious decision to value your peace more than your pride. Imagine you're in a meeting. You've just shared your input and someone, maybe out of insecurity, maybe out of ego, tries to publicly undermine you. You feel the wave rise, but instead of snapping back or locking horns in front of everyone, you breathe, you let their comment hang in the air, and you say nothing. In that stillness, a few things happen. First, you deny them the reaction they wanted. Second, you hold the frame, showing everyone in the room exactly who's really in control. And third, you protect something far more valuable than your temporary victory, your inner peace. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The best answer to anger is silence, because anger feeds off reaction. It wants your energy. It thrives on escalation. But silence starves it. Think of it like this. If anger is a fire, your words are the wood. But silence is the moment you stop feeding the flame and start watching it burn itself out. Of course, this doesn't mean you suppress how you feel. Silence isn't about bottling up your voice forever. It's about choosing when your voice truly matters. Here's how to start building silence into your emotional toolkit. Pause before reacting. That single moment of breath, that heartbeat of restraint, is where wisdom enters. Let the emotion rise and let it pass. Listen without defending. Sometimes people don't need a rebuttal. They want to be heard. And when you stop trying to win the moment, you often disarm the situation entirely. Speak only when necessary and only if it adds value. A Buddhist teaching says, speak only if it improves upon the silence. Make that your filter if your words won't bring clarity, healing, or truth. Let the silence hold its ground. Silence isn't inaction, it's inner alignment. And often when emotions are high, it says far more than anything you could put into words. The next time someone tries to provoke you, with sarcasm, disrespect, or even passive aggression, pause. Ask yourself, will speaking now bring peace or fuel the fire? If it's the latter, choose stillness. Not to retreat, but to rise above. Because when you remain calm in the face of chaos, you gain something no one can take from you. Command of the moment. And that's how you win without a single word. That's how you show strength. Not by raising your voice, but by raising your standards for what's worthy of your response. So let your silence speak for you. Let it say, your behavior doesn't move me. My peace does. And in that stillness, you don't just protect your energy, you elevate your presence. Number 7, choose your response. Imagine this. You're walking through your day, steady and content. Then suddenly, something small, a rude comment, a careless interruption, an unexpected delay, pierces through. It's tempting to react, to let it spin you out, to hand over your peace to a moment that didn't earn it. But what if you didn't? What if, in that split second, you remembered you don't control the world, but you do control your response? And that one choice? It changes everything, because in every moment you're faced with a question. Will I react from impulse or respond from principle? When you let the heat of the moment dictate your actions, you become a passenger to your emotions, steered by whatever just happened. But when you pause, breathe, and choose based on your values and long-term peace, you become a leader of your inner world. Think about how freeing that is. The rude stranger, the passive-aggressive co-worker, the sarcastic relative, they all lose their grip on you, not because they changed, but because you did. Because here's the truth, you don't owe every situation a reaction. You owe yourself peace. Every time someone tries to push your buttons, you have an opening, a split-second space to decide, do I give them power over my emotional state, or do I anchor into who I truly am? Let's make this real. Imagine someone cuts you off in traffic. You feel it, the jolt of irritation, but instead of yelling or tailgating, you shake your head, smile, and let it go. Not because you're passive, but because you value your energy too much to waste it on strangers who don't even know your name. Or maybe it's deeper. You're in a meeting and someone dismisses your idea with a smirk. You could lash out or stew in silence, or you could decide, their behavior doesn't define me. My response does. That's emotional mastery. That's strength in stillness. Here's how to step into that strength. Pause and feel the urge without obeying it. Let the emotional spike rise, but don't follow it. Let it pass through like a wave. Power begins in that pause. Ask yourself, what response reflects who I want to be? Not what feels good now, but what will feel right later. Act with intention. Speak, move, or stay silent, but let it come from clarity, not chaos. And here's a truth many overlook. You don't always have to react. You can witness, you can walk away, you can breathe and keep moving forward, untouched by the moment, because you chose not to be defined by it. Every time you respond with calm instead of chaos, with strength instead of spite, you send a quiet but powerful message to the world. I know who I am. And you don't get to change that with a single moment. The result, not just emotional control, but emotional freedom. And once you taste that kind of freedom, you'll never want to give it away again. Number 8, hold the line. Protect your energy through boundaries. That last, you've probably been there. You finally set a boundary. You said no, you asked for space, you communicated a limit you've ignored for far too long, and for a moment you felt empowered until someone pushed back. And suddenly you start to question it. Was I too harsh? Am I being selfish? Maybe, just this once. But here's the truth you need to anchor into. A boundary is only as strong as your willingness to enforce it. Anyone can draw a line, but it's the one who holds that line, consistently, clearly, and calmly, who earns both peace and respect. When you bend every time someone applies pressure, your boundaries don't protect you. They become suggestions. And suggestions don't protect your energy, they drain it. The Stoic wisdom of Lao Tzu says it simply, he who knows when to stop does not find himself in trouble. Because knowing your limits isn't selfish, it's strategy, it's survival. And more than that, it's a declaration that your well-being is not up for negotiation. Let's clear something up. Boundaries aren't walls. They're not about shutting people out or keeping love away. They're bridges to healthier, more honest, and more balanced relationships. They say, here's how I can show up well, and here's what I need in order to do that. When you communicate your needs and uphold them with grace, you don't push people away. You give them something real to meet you inside of. You create safety, not just for yourself, but for the relationship. Here's a personal checkpoint. The next time you feel overwhelmed, drained, or quietly resentful, ask yourself, have I clearly expressed what I need? Have I honored the boundary I promised myself I'd hold? Because every time you abandon your own line for someone else's comfort, you teach yourself that your needs are optional. They're not. You are not responsible for managing everyone's emotions. You are not here to be the fixer, the rescuer, the always available one. Your responsibility is to your own peace, energy, time, and emotional integrity. And when you honor that, something beautiful happens. You show up stronger, more whole, more grounded. You stop running on empty, giving your last ounce to people who don't even realize they're taking it. And instead, you give from a place of fullness, of choice, not obligation. That's when your presence becomes powerful, because it's no longer being extracted, it's being offered. So here's how to hold your boundaries with strength and grace. Be clear. Ambiguity is where resentment grows. State your needs calmly, directly, without apology. Use I language. Say, I need quiet time after work to recharge, instead of, you always bother me. It's not about blame, it's about clarity. Stay consistent. If you set a limit, uphold it, especially when it's inconvenient. That consistency teaches others and yourself that your peace is non-negotiable. Remember, every time you honor your boundary, you protect the energy you'll need to do what matters. You're not just avoiding burnout, you're reinforcing the message, my well-being is sacred and I live like it. So the next time someone pushes your line, don't waver. Don't explain endlessly. Just return to the quiet strength that says, this is where I end. This is where I protect myself. And this is how I remain whole. That's not resistance. That's wisdom. That's power. Number 9, let gratitude ground you. How thankfulness quietly defeats. Anger some days feel like a test you didn't sign up for. The alarm didn't go off. The coffee spilled, someone said something rude, and one tiny inconvenience after another starts to build until your whole body hums with frustration. You feel it rising, that quiet burn beneath your chest, the tension in your jaw, the sharpness in your words waiting to escape. But in that moment, what if you paused? What if instead of letting the fire build, you redirected your focus? Not to what's wrong, but to what's still right. Because here's a truth that sounds simple, but carries profound power. You can't feel grateful and angry at the same time. Gratitude acts like a reset button for your nervous system. It interrupts the spiral. It rewires your attention. It whispers, not everything is broken, look again. Even on your worst days, there's always something small that's still good. A flicker of light that your anger wants you to ignore. Let's bring this into real life. You're stuck in traffic. You're late. Your plans are unraveling. Your shoulders tense. Your thoughts are racing. Now pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what can I be thankful for right here, right now? Maybe it's the fact that you have a car. Maybe it's the opportunity you're headed toward. Maybe it's just the song playing through your speakers. A reminder that even in gridlock, there's still music. That shift may seem small, but it changes everything. As the Roman philosopher Cicero once said, gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, it is the parent of all others. Gratitude doesn't just make you feel better. It builds resilience. It deepens perspective. It creates space where anger once lived and fills that space with quiet power. It doesn't deny frustration. It just refuses to let frustration run the show. Here's how to start weaving gratitude into your emotional toolkit. Pause and reflect when anger begins. The moment you feel tension rising, stop, breathe. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can be thankful for right now? 2. Keep a gratitude journal. At the end of your day, write down 3 things, no matter how small, that went well. This habit retrains your brain to notice the good, even in chaos. Use gratitude as a reframe. When someone criticizes you harshly, instead of letting anger take hold, reframe it. I'm grateful for the chance to learn something, even if it was delivered poorly. This doesn't excuse bad behavior. It simply ensures you stay in control of your response. Even in conflict, gratitude gives you back your agency. As Buddhist wisdom reminds us, if we didn't learn a lot today, at least we learned a little. If we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. If we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful. That's not blind optimism. That's emotional perspective. And it's what keeps you grounded when life tries to pull you off course. Because gratitude isn't weakness. It's clarity. It's choosing to anchor into what's present, not obsess over what's missing. So the next time anger creeps in, when the moment feels unfair, when the noise gets loud, pause and ask, What do I still have right now that deserves my thanks? You'll find that anger begins to fade, not because it was solved, but because it was replaced, and in its place, you'll feel something stronger. Calm, clarity, and the quiet return of control. Because peace isn't something you wait for. It's something you create, one grateful breath at a time. Number 10, release to rise, the quiet strength of letting go. Imagine holding a burning coal in your hand, not to warm yourself, but to throw at someone who hurt you. You grip it tightly, waiting for the perfect moment to retaliate. But minute by minute, it burns through your skin, not theirs. And you begin to realize the damage isn't theirs to carry, it's yours. This is what holding on to anger, resentment, regret truly feels like. It doesn't punish the past. It poisons the present. It steals the joy that's already here and locks you inside a story that no longer serves you. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean excusing what happened. It means you've decided to stop carrying what was never meant to be permanent. Because the truth is this: you cannot rewrite the past, but you can stop reliving it. The Buddha captured it perfectly. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Think of the last time someone truly hurt you, a betrayal, a cruel comment, a broken promise. How much energy have you spent replaying it in your mind, imagining the perfect comeback, the justice never delivered? Now ask yourself, did it ever bring peace? Imagine instead that you let it float away like a balloon. The longer you cling, the tighter it strains your hand. But when you release it, you feel something you haven't in a while. Light, free, present. Letting go is not weakness. It is an act of strength so quiet it doesn't need applause. It's not giving up. It's choosing to no longer invest your precious energy into something that gives you nothing back. Here's what letting go really means. Acknowledge what you feel, fully. You don't need to suppress hurt. Suppression traps emotion. Let yourself feel with honesty, without judgment. Say, yes, that wounded me. Naming the truth sets it in motion. Reframe the story. Ask, what did this teach me? Where did it strengthen me? Pain always carries the seed of growth. If you're willing to find it, return to the present. The past cannot touch you unless you invite it in. Peace lives in this moment, and this moment only. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, do not be disturbed by what is outside your control. Let it go, and you will find peace. Letting go is not surrendering. It's selecting. You are selecting your peace over your past, your clarity over your chaos, your future over a loop that can't give you back what was lost. It's not always clean. It's not always quick. But every time you choose to release a little bit more, you take another step toward yourself, toward the you that doesn't live in reaction, that doesn't need revenge to feel whole, that doesn't grip old pain like proof of what was done wrong. You become the person who looks back, not with resentment, but with wisdom, with compassion, with power. So the next time you're tempted to hold on, to replay the moment, to rehearse the pain, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Who do I become when I choose to let this go? Because true strength isn't found in gripping harder. It's found in the gentle release, the one that says, this story no longer owns me. And in that moment, you don't just let go of the pain, you rise above it. Final reflection, so here we are. 10 lessons, not rules, not quick fixes, but quiet truths, each one a key that unlocks a different kind of freedom. You learned that your reaction is your choice, and in that choice, your power begins. That anger can dissolve in silence, and pain can soften through perspective. That boundaries aren't selfish, they're sacred, and that protecting your energy is the most respectful thing you can do for yourself. And for others, you discovered that peace is built, one decision at a time, to pause before speaking, to stay calm when provoked, to choose your response, not your impulse. You let go of the need to be right, of the weight of criticism, of the exhausting habit of trying to control others. You found that gratitude can undo rage, and that letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom in motion. And through it all, one truth kept returning. Emotional mastery isn't about feeling nothing. It's about no longer being owned by what you feel. You'll still get hurt. You'll still feel anger, fear, frustration, but now you'll know how to stand inside the storm and stay steady. Not because life stopped being difficult, but because you stopped giving your peace away so easily. You've stopped chasing control over others and started mastering control over yourself. That's the shift. That's the power. That's the beginning of a life lived on your terms. Not reactive, but intentional. Not hardened, but centered. So as you move forward, don't aim to be perfect. Aim to be aware. Aim to practice. Because emotional freedom isn't a finish line. It's a way of walking through the world. Head, heart steady, unshaken. You've taken the first step. Now keep going.